Hi guys and welcome back to Dice Down Gaming. In today's video I'm going to take a look at Captian Firequill, probably my favourite Brineblood Warlock. I'm going to do a bit of a deep dive into his card, what I think he makes excel, and then I'm going to show you a few lists that I've played around with and really enjoy playing with, and certainly had some success with them locally at least. Before that, a really just massive thank you to anyone who's subscribed to me so far. I reached 500, which I think is just crazy, and I'm super grateful. My next target is 1,000. For full transparency, I don't make any money yet on my channel. I need to have a 3,000 public view hours before I unlock any sort of monetary option. But I'm not in it for the money. I love talking about the game, and I love sort of conversing with you through the YouTube comments and other means. So yeah, thank you so much for anyone who's supported me so far. My next target is 1,000 subscribers. So yeah, let's keep going, and I'm going to keep pushing for that. Secondly, a shout out to Monstrous Makings. I'm lucky enough to be an affiliate with them. Every now and then I'll give them a shout out. As the video today is like Warmachine related, they make Warmachine related token sets, as well as generic token sets, and there's some really cool merch. If you do want some tokens of Warmachine, and you click my affiliate link before purchasing them, I make a small amount of commission from you clicking my link, and that helps me so far upgrade my microphone. I'm looking to upgrade my webcam as well. So with that out of the way, let's get into the actual meat of the video, which is Captian Firequill. Before we go into the rules, I think it's always worth looking at the visuals of the model, the optics. This is Firequill. I absolutely love the model of Firequill. You've got a starfish holding one of the guns. You've got a gun. You've got a scatter gun, and he's just got guns all around him. You really get the idea that he's almost like this Han Solo of the of the Brineblood, loaded with guns. He's got a sort of pirate, sort of swashbuckler vibe. Yeah, I think it's a really great model, and yeah, I think they really nailed the design of Firequill. So let's get stuck into the rules. So Firequill is Brineblood Marauder leader model. We have got 16 boxes and we're speed 5, which, you know, on the face of it might be a bit slow, but we've got ways to sort of increase our threat range. The Arcane Attack 6, which is not a stat you'll use too often. Rat 7, which is a good baseline for what we want to do. Depth 15, Armor 15. So yeah, 15, 15, 16 boxes is looking a bit sort of vulnerable, but we're going to be able to increase our defense via a spell. We're Arcane 6 and Control 12, so all reasonable. We're tough, and we've got Gunfighter, which is good to have because we haven't got any melee attacks. We have no mat. First up, we've got Field Marshal Black Penny. So the raid weapons of cohort models in this model's battle group gain Black Penny, which is attacks made with this with Black Penny ignore the target immediate death bonus. So fantastic start. Think about an Abyssal King. Very easy to get engaged or be targeting things with melee with a 3-inch melee. You ignore that. And you know, if someone runs in to engage your model to try and make them harder to hit, with your cohort models, Black Penny sort of negates that. So yeah, really strong start. Now Fortune Hunter is where the money's at. This model gains an additional dice on attack and damage rolls against character models. So I can't overstate how powerful I found this rule. So first of all, just, you know, solo characters. Kruger is a big one. Kruger cannot get near Firequill, or Firequill lifts him off the table. Eris, another one. You know, with a spray that you can get around stealth, you lift her off the table, and of course, any leader model is a field allowance C. So really strong at assassinating casters or warlocks, and also character units. So say Furies from Crix, very easy to pick them up with Firequill himself. So really strong rule. Next up, Headshot. So models disabled by a ranged attack by this model cannot make a tough roll and then move from play. So another really fantastic rule. Say you're playing to Sep-Zero with 30 Mechanophrals. There's no tough rolls from like Mechanophrals the Firequill removes, and also remove from play. If you shoot some Criterions, there's no, you can't return them. Playing against, say, Signar, who's got Alexia, and you shoot some Stormlance Legionnaires, Headshot means that you can't return them with Alexia. Really strong sort of tech to have on your leader model. We've got Reciprocate, so when it's missed by enemy range attack, after tech resolved, you can shoot back. And with the ammo types we've got on your Mage Lock pistol, really good to have. And also in conjunction with one of his unique spells, fantastic to have. And last reposition 3, So that really helps out if you want to move up 5, you know, maybe do your thing, shoot your ranged attacks, being able to reposition 3 backwards, or is really handy. Maybe aggressively forwards, but I've not done that too much with Firequill. So, you know, to start off with, a really fantastic set of baseline rules on your leader model. So we have a total of 3 ranged weapons, and one has reload 1. So we've got 4 ranged attacks on Firequill. Kick off with a Magelock Scattergun. This is a spray 8 at power 12. These 2 are magical. The Scattergun and the pistol are magical because they're Magelock. And when you fire your Scattergun, you can pick one type of ammo. You can pick Flare. So models hit by the attack lose stealth and suffer -2 defense for 1 turn. So really, really fantastic. I think outside of Firequill and Admiral Boomhowler's Spyglass, the only ways to play around stealth in the faction. And the -2 death is fantastic. And then we have Incendiary. You can, if the model was hit, you can cause continuous fire. Again, very useful. I'm a big Flare fan to enable the rest of your army, or to strip stealth from a key model. Next, we've got Magelock Pistol. So this has 3 different ammo types. We're range 10, power 10. First of all, Black Penny. So you can shoot and ignore the in melee defense bonus for your ranged attack. Next up, Blood Boon, which if you kill a model, you can cast a spell without spending Fury. Worth noting once per activation. So you can only Blood Boon once a turn, which obviously is very important to know. You can pick Blood Boon ammo type more than once, but you can only trigger more than once. So if you're trying to trigger Blood Boon on a multi-wound model, if you're worried that the first time you shoot you won't kill it, it's not the end of the world because you can click Blood Boon again, but you can only trigger the actual spell with the free spell cast once a turn. Next up, we've got Momentum, which I absolutely love on the Magelock Pistol. A small medium based is Slam D3. The power of the clap roll is the power of the weapon, so your power 10. In addition, if you're a large base, you can knock it down. So you've got knockdown on demand for large bases and slams on demand for medium and small bases. Really, really fantastic. And we reload 1. So we can slam twice a turn. We could Blood Boon once for a free spell and slam another one. We could do Black Pennies and snipe out things which are engaged in key models. Really, really fantastic tech in the Magelock Pistol. And then we've got one last range 10, power 10 hold-up pistol, which Sammy the Starfish is shooting for us. Next up, we've got the feat, which is Heavy Rain. So while in Captain Firequill's control range, models in this battle group gain +2 to their ranged attack and damage rolls. So it's Firequill himself and all your cohort models. Additionally, while in his control range, each time a warbeast in this battle group makes a ranged attack, the ranged weapon can gain either Flare or Incendiary. So whenever your cohort models are going to fire their shots, you can either have them cause continuous fire or -2 defense and strip stealth. Really, really fantastic. With in faction, you've got the Deep-Born Dire Trolls who can take the spray squids, range 12 spray, which can strip stealth. Really, really good to have. We'll talk a bit more about the beast we're probably going to take with Firequill and how he sort of enables them. But the feat is like one sort of tornado turn. You know, hopefully you're going to trigger Blood Boon. We're going to cast a spell called Broadside. We can have our feet up, and it can be a bit more of a tornado of a turn. Spell rack, you have two slots and 2 uniques. First of all, we've got Broadside. I think iconic spell, but iconic for like Firequill's playstyle. It's cost free. Models in the spellcast battle group currently in the control range can immediately make 1 basic ranged attack. So we're sort of building an idea in our head of how we're going to build our list. We've got a feat which affects battle group and specifically, you know, an extra benefit for cohort. And we've got a spell which lets our battle group shoot for free once per turn. So we're building an idea we're going to have quite a few cohort models in this list. We've got Bullet Dodger, target for any faction model gains +2 death and dodge. So when you are missed, by an enemy attack, you can move 2. I typically place this on Firequill. So we go to the 10 to 17, which is quite a reasonable number. If we can get behind a bit of terrain or in sort of forest for concealment against shooting, we can get to 19 or say 21 with cover, 19 against melee behind a wall. So we're not too easy to get. Be aware of sort of high blast being boosted. If power 10s or 12 blasts start getting boosted repeatedly, you might be in trouble, so be aware of that for Firequill. But that is the card in general, and I think I actually love playing Firequill. I've always liked playing Warlock to do a bit themselves and get a bit involved in the game. So I think Firequill and Ragemonger are my two favourite warlocks in sort of Brineblood. I feel like they sort of get involved themselves. You've got Ragemonger harpooning heavies in, and you've got Firequill blasting away. We've got a fantastic amount of tech in all of these shots we have. We can strip stealth, we can apply continuous fire, then we can slam stuff, we can cast a spell for free. I always find Firequill's activations a lot of fun to have because you know you're going to get some real value from himself. And in some games, I've lifted an awful amount of models just via Firequill's activation by a movement, shooting a bloodboon shot. You feet before that. Your whole battle group fires before they even activate under the feet for the +2 to hit and +2 damage. Yeah, really, really, really enjoy a Firequill. I'm going to take a briefly look at the rack spells and what I typically think really go well with Firequill. I'm a fan of Black Spot into matchups you know you can get value with it. A good example is I recently played Sepsira with 13 Mechanophrals. I racked Black Spot, and in one activation I used a Mechanophral unit, so 5 Mechanophrals to shoot a spray and then Black Spot another spray. Then I used my 3 other shots to trigger Black Spot and made other sprays. So in one activation, I think Firequill made 4 shots plus 4 Black Spot sprays. So 5 sprays, 8 shots in total. I think he killed about 15 Mechanophrals, maybe more himself. Black Spot works really well if you're running any Marauder crew. The defense debuff helps them, and they've already got a high volume of attacks. Getting more attacks off those attacks works really well. But also matchup dependent. If you're playing a lot of multi-wound infantry, lots of cohort, I don't think Black Spot has much value. But typically, I think Firequill is better into single wound infantry or low to medium armor medium infantry / cohort. To a degree, I think he can struggle cracking armor. I think the Abyssal King does somewhat sort of help that. But you don't. But typically, I think it's better into infantry, medium infantry. Things you're going to get value from sort of the blood boons, the easy blood boon targets, and things you can remove from range to sort of trade up and leverage your heavy range battle group advantage. Fortify is never a bad spell. Really good for a heavy on-demand, no knockdown. Things like Hasker's Feet, which is the 4+, you take the damage roll and knockdown. You can just sort of ignore that by placing Fortify, or never bad for an Abyssal King. But on demand, no knockdown is fantastic, especially if you're playing maybe an army with some drags. Not being able to push negates the drag as well. So, matchup dependent, very good. Fortune, never bad. For Marauder crew who have high volume of attacks, dual attack, pistols and melee, rerolling all of your hits on a unit is very good, and you can upcycle that by upkeeping it and then cast it on another unit in the same turn. Fury Strength, not bad if you're running lots of Marauder crew. Typically, I'm running sort of 2 units with Firequill, so not something I always take. And I find in terms of Firequill's resource per turn, I tend to like to use a bit of Fury on Firequill. I'd like to get a bit out of his activation. So I haven't got a great deal to put out a Fury Strength. There are options in the faction to cast it for free per turn. But I think it's a consideration, and if you're not running lots of Marauder crew with Firequill, then why not? But it's sort of like a Fury management aspect. I'm not sure you always have the Fury to cast Fury Strength every turn. Open Fire is great. Just one Fury model in your battle group can cast to do a ranged attack for free. Probably best place with the Abyssal King to get a free main gun shot, or not a free, but a 1-cost main gun shot. You could feat, broadside from a blood boon and open fire, and you could shoot like twice if you're Abyssal King before it goes. You can only do open fire once per turn per model, so you can spend 5 Fury and shoot 5 Kings with 5 times with the main King from the Abyssal King. Perdition, I don't think with Arcane Attack 6 and though that said, if you are running sort of say Deepborn Diatrolls with the Crab Net, you might need the Perdition to get in range. So never bad for more threat on your warbeast, but again, it's one of those things that is Arcane Attack 6. You need it to damage to make the move, so you might have to sort of move, maybe boost the hit to ensure it boosts damage. That's 4 Fury in 1 turn. That means Firequill's typically not going to be able to apply Rage to a key warbeast or do many shots himself. So it's never bad. More threat on your beast is never bad, but sometimes I find I don't have the Fury to do it off. Powder Keg, not a massive fan of Powder Keg. Rough Seas is never bad. That lets you sort of, it's like a Star Cross, but If people shoot your models in your control range, they have to roll 3d6 and they have to take away the highest. Typically, I'm not really sure I want to play Firequill into very, very good shooting armies. I want to sort of be able to leverage my range advantage and remove stuff before they get into me. And I think typically, if I was going to play a gun line, I'd probably be dropping a Boom Howler or a Foul Blood with a bit more defensive tech. Offers Firequill to take its all offensive. Tide Pool is create a area of shallow water and not use too much. And Tides of War is another one which could be very good for him. While in Spellcaster's range, models in battle group repo 3. So if you're running a really heavy battle group list, obviously reposition 3 on all your models is really good. The only awkward thing is that you have to go Firequill first and cast that. On the feet turn, not so bad because you typically want to go Firequill first to get the feet up before you activate your cohort. But on other turns, you may not want to be going with Firequill first every single time, and it sort of forces you to get the most out of that. You have to go first with Firequill. Again, a Fury resource sort of issue that if you've got, say, 2 upkeeps going, and you upkeep 1 for free, so you've got 5 Fury, and maybe you want to cast Rage, or you want to go with Firequill and boost a few shots, suddenly you've only got a few Fury left, and then to put up another spell can be difficult. I prefer Tides of War over sort of Perdition in that sense, because Tides of War you keep 2, there's no need to boost damage. Or boost the hit, and it can be very useful for like a heavy battle group list, which I'm going to go through a few lists. In one list I've got like 5 warbeasts, and I would consider Tides of War in that. Black Spot is matchup dependent, and sort of Fortune Fortify is never bad. There's some great options on the spell rack for Firequill. I think some of them will depend on the matchup you are. I think Fortify is a good like default, and then if you don't feel like you need a Black Spot or a Fury Strength, Open Fire is never bad to have in the back pocket for a free shot it's not free, for a 1 Fury shot, like an extra shot where you need it. But Tides of War is never bad if you're a heavy cohort. And Fortune or Fury Strength, if you lean in more into Marauder Crew, they're never bad for them as well. Fantastic. In commercial command cards, I'll go through them in terms of the list I've picked. But before that, I just want to pick out a few sort of key things which I think make Firequill excel and he makes excel. So first of all, I'm going to take a look at the Pig Dirge. This is a solo. It's a 2-point solo. And I'm starting with this because I think it really, it makes everything in Firequill's list better. So it has a few rules. It's speed 7, rat 6, 13, 15. We're unstoppable. We're tough, which is quite funny because it's like a balloon. And we have flight. It's got flying high, so there's -3 range if you target it with a ranged attack. And you can move through it because it's technically in the sky. But the real money here is marked target. So other friendly faction models gain +2 to range attack rolls against any model within 5 of this model and its line of sight. So I think we've already built the idea that we're typically going to have a very ranged heavy list with Firequill. Whether it be lots of cohort and maybe some support with Marauder Crew from Quartermasters. This is a very easy, applicable. You could run 12 with this model, and then you could have a 5-inch bubble from it, +2 to hit for ranged attacks. So it's going to be helping whatever we want to do. Firequill becomes rat 9 if we're targeting something near marked target. The Deep-Born Diatrol is rat 7 or 8, depending on what head we have. A Reef Troll is rat 8. Abyssal King is probably rat 7 with the loadout we're going to bring before we aim with everything and before we apply Firequill feat to everything. So for 2 points, these are really fantastic. They have a sort of ranged attack themselves, which is short range. And if you do survive the turn that you run up to apply mark target, fantastic. But for 2 points on a really key turn, like a 10-inch sort of circle of +2 to hit with your ranged attacks, is absolutely fantastic. And I think you're probably going to want these in sort of all the Firequill lists you build. And for 2 points, if you take 2 of them for 4 points, you've got a massive area of the board which you can just apply +2 to hit for yourself if needed. So Pig Dirge is absolutely killer. Next up, we're going to look at a few of the warbeasts because, as we said, Firequill's feat only affects your warbeasts. So we're going to take a lot of cohort to maximise the feat. And then broadside means our cohort models, our battle group models that include Firequill, can shoot 1 shot for free, sort of out of activation, ignoring rate of fire. So we're going to maximise our battle group, so we make the most of broadside as well. So I'm going to kick off with the Deep-Born Diatrol. This has a few options. It's standard sort of heavy stats with 30 boxes, starts at armor 18. So we're mat 7, rat 5. There's 2 heads that I think are really useful for Firequill. First of all, there's one which is named Bellower. This offers it a +1 mat, so your Deepborn Dieter is base rat 6. You gain a additional spray 8 attack, which is obviously good because it's going to be affected by the feat. So we're going to be pseudo rat 8 power 14 when we use Firequill's feat. And also it offers the Animus Swift Hunter, which is really fantastic for Firequill. It adds 2 inches or potentially more to Firequill's assassination range. So Firequill is speed 5. His guns are speed 8 and 10, so 13/15 for sort of a ranged threat shot. But if we can move, kill a model, and then Swift Hunter, suddenly we're sort of like 15/17. If we kill 2, so we'll show you there's 1 key model, we want the 1 key warcast, so we need to keep strip stealth off. We could move, apply Swift Hunter, fire a maze lock pistol, fire a holdout pistol, kill 2 models, Swift Hunter twice, and then we could spray, which is 10 inches. So that would be 19 inches of being able to strip stealth off a warcaster or a warlock. So I really like the option to have Swift Hunter in your list. And it increases this guy's rat by 1, so your base rat 6, which is always handy. The second head is a bit more simple. It has the Rage Animus. This is really, really fantastic, especially for Abyssal King. +2 to damage rolls. This used to be +2 to melee damage rolls, and now it's only +2 to damage rolls. So on a key turn, if you want to apply a Rage to a Deepborn Dieter or a Reef Troll or an Abyssal King, and you stack that with the feat, you're suddenly +4 damage to your rolls, which include all of your ranged rolls. So really, I think good to have in the list in terms of options for your warbeasts. And in terms of arms, there's 2 real options, I think, for Firequill to maximise his feat. One is the Crab Net. So this is a range 8 AoE 2 power 14/10. They're only speed 5, so you're only threatening 13 inches with the Crab Net. And you're vulnerable to stealth. There's no way of playing around stealth unless Firequill strips it. But with the feat, suddenly your power 16/12. If you raised it, your power 18/14. Which is really, really nice, and it knocks down models it hits. And the Deepborn Tribe Draw itself can't be knocked down. I actually really like the Crab Nets. If you do find room and make Petition work, you can move Petition 5, and then move 5, and then Crab Net, so it's 18 inches of a knockdown. Can become incredibly accurate. If we've got the, say, Swift Hunter head, we're rat 6, and we feat with Firequill for rat 8, and we mark target, we're pseudo rat 10 now. And if we raise it, we could be power 18/14. Yeah, could be very, very good. So that's a great option for Firequill. And next up, we've got the Squid Blaster. This is the same points. This is lower power, and it's not AoE, but it's a 12. It's a spray 12, which is a humongous distance. Spray 12 is really long, and we're critical blind. Can be really clutch in sort of getting a key caster kill if you sort of get a stray booster hit on their caster and suddenly they're blind. Even your sort of Marauder Crew and Quartermasters, once someone's blinded and you pop a big pig dirge next to it, and you mini feat, you go from rat 5 to rat 9 with your mini feat and your pig dirge, and they're blinded. You're pseudo rat 13 at that point. You don't miss much when you're that. So really fantastic to have. A bit better at clearing out infantry. Can find a bit lacking at sort of pushing up into sort of 20 armor plus, because you're going to be, even with the feet, you're only your dice -6. You might get a few damage, but you're not going to lift heavies off. Where the Crab Net, if you buff this up, you can sort of do a bit more damage to the higher armor. But the Squid Blaster has got a crit blind and it's better at clearing infantry. So you could run double Diatrol and 1 of each. Different heads, different options, give you a bit more options in the game. But the Squid Blaster and the Crab Net, I think, are great with Firequill. Next up, the Reef Troll. Big fan of Reef Trolls. These are your light option with sort of Death 12 Armor 16. So they're quite easy to remove, and they're only 22 boxes. So you have to keep them safe, but fortunately enough, we can give them a gun which helps them that. The head, I think, the best option for Firequill is the Swift Hunter. Sorry, it's the Gunner. It grants Swift Hunter. So whenever these kill a model, you can move 2 inches. You could pair this with Tides of War. So you could move, shoot, hopefully kill something, move 2 inches, and then reposition 3. You could move 5 inches after shooting with your Reef Troll, which is obviously really good. And you get a +1 rat. So again, you're going to be running these guys at rat 6. And as we said, with Pig Dirges and Firequill's feet, that's a +4 on the turn. So you could be pseudo rat 10. Really accurate. And then really, I think there's only one gun really which excels with Firequill, is the ship's gun. So with base range 12. we're AoE 2, we're power 13, 18, and we're arcing fire. When attacking this weapon, you ignore intervening models. So if we feat, we're power 15/10, and we're range 12, and we ignore intervening models. Before I get too deep into that, I want to mention the booze, which I think is the best booze to take with Firequill. It's the same point as the rest, cheaper than the Grog Cask, and it gives the Animus Snipe. So this is fantastic for two reasons, really. First of all, for the Reef Troll, if we snipe ourselves, which is a typical activation for me, you walk with your Reef Troll, you snipe yourself, you then boost hits, your range 15, power 13/8, and you ignore line of sight for intervening models. On the feat turn, your power 15/10, and you can move 5 and shoot 15 with snipe. That's 20 inches, which is absolutely massive. When you consider also you can ignore intervening models. So if we do walk with Firequill and strip stealth off a Warlock and then fire 3 more shots with Firequill, which are automatically boosted, then we move our Roof Trolls from 20 inches away. We can shoot that Warlock. Say we've got the feat and Firequill has applied Flare, and we've got a Pig Durs next to that Warlock. There's a +6 in swing in our accuracy. So we can be pseudo wrap 12 and power 15s from 20 inches away. Really, really, really good. Really, really solid. But the second part of snipe is for Firequill. So we were saying previously with Firequill we could move 5 and we could shoot 8 with our pistols and 10 with our spray. Suddenly we can move 5 with Firequill and shoot 11 with our pistols and 13 with our spray. So the threat sort of 13/15 inches suddenly becomes 16/18 inches. We could walk with Firequill, Swift Hunter, kill 2 models, and then snipe ourselves. So, that's 23 inches now total. Snipe is really, really fantastic for Firequill. It enables him to reach further into backlines or into leaders. And Snipe's fantastic for your ship's gun, which is going to be range 15 when you apply it. I love Reef Trolls with Firequill. I've got lots and lots of cast skills locally with Firequill. And part of that is these Reef Trolls, which are threatening 20 inches and power 15 under the feat turn. Really, really good. Last but not least, the Abyssal King. I've only recently got the King myself, so I've only had 3 games with the King so far. I've sort of won all of them so far locally, which has been great. And I've really, really enjoyed using the King with Firequill. The nice thing about the King is it gives you a sort of melee option, which can very, very reliably one round a heavy. Sometimes with your Dire Trolls, the way you build them, you might have one good melee attack with the Hammerhead Shark. Even if you rage it, you go to power 19. Sometimes at power 19 with 5 attacks, you might be short of one round in a heavy if it's sort of defensively buffed and stacked up. Whereas the Abyssal King doesn't have that problem. It's sort of Abyssal King colossal stat like usual, Def 10 on 19, 56 boxes. But we're going to look at what really Firequill makes shine. There's 2 head options. The Electrodor head is where I like to play with Firequill. A couple of reasons. Mainly because it's another ranged attack. And on the feet, we're going to turn this +2 hit, +2 damage. It's an option if we broadside. We can have a spray option to use. That while being 5 inches model, living animals suffer -2 to attack rolls. That can be here or there. But if you put a Marauder crew next to the King and then apply set defense to that, they're pseudo def 14. Under all, they're pseudo def 16. That can come in handy. Largely, this isn't the reason I'm taking it. The extra spray 10 is fantastic. It makes you immune to lightning and has critical cortex damage, I believe. Let's check that. Oh, I don't think it's going to work. I think it's crit. I think this is crit disruption, maybe. But makes you immune to lightning, and you get an additional range attack. There's 2 options for the figurehead. I really like the Seahorse. A couple of reasons here. First of all, you get +1 rat. So rather than being rat 4, you're rat 5, which is never bad when you're playing like a ranged-based model. But the Animus for counterblast is really, really good. So first of all, for the Abyssal King, when someone moves in, you're free to make a melee attack or ranged attack. With the ranged attack being rat 5, sometimes, if you're hitting, even if you're trying to hit defense 12, you might want to take the ranged attack. You need a 7 to hit. You can always take a free melee attack at mat 6 with power 22 attack. But the +1 rat is great, but counterblast is fantastic for Firequill. Firequill has momentum as a shot, which will slam a small and medium based or knock down a large based. It makes you very, very hard to kill in terms of melee assassination. If you put up Counterblast on Firequill, paired with Fortune Hunter, if any opposing leader model gets within 5 of you, you can fire your Counterblast, and you've got a boosted shot because of, well, an additional dice shot because of Fortune Hunter. So you have a 3d6 shot, and when you shoot that shot, you can choose your Mace Pistol and fire a momentum shot. So someone walks in 5 of you, okay, Counterblast triggers. Firequill is going to fire a momentum shot, and I'm going to get that boosted 3d6 because you're a character. So on-demand knockdown for someone that moves within 5 inches is really, really solid. And for Abyssal King, we're going to be Rat 5 rather than Rat 4. There may be argument just to not take this one. So you're Rat 4, I suppose, with a Pig Dirge and the feet. You could argue that sometimes you're Rat 8 anyway, even without the +1. This makes your Abyssal King a bit faster and does get the Animus for unyielding, which isn't bad. So you can be Armor 21 in melee. I really like Counterblast with Firequill, makes him very, very hard to assassinate. In terms of guns, you have 2 choices which are repeated. There's a main gun and a powder cask. The main gun is range 14, rate of fire 1, power 15 with crit knockdown. And the powder cask is range 10, rate of fire 1, AoE 3, power 15, 10. So I like taking one of each on the Abyssal King with Firequill for a couple of options. First of all, when we broadside with Firequill, ideally from a blood boon shot, so we cast it for free, we can choose which one we want to do. Powder cask is obviously better against sort of infantry, whereas the main gun is better at lifting sort of higher armor targets. We're going to be able to shoot each one we shoot when we broadside if we've got one of each. They do different purposes. Sort of when we apply Firequill's feat, suddenly these numbers are +2, so we're power 17 on both of these, and this power becomes 12. And if we wanted, we could apply Rage to Abyssal King. I've done this recently, it's a great deal of fun. So on the feat turn, we are going to be power 19 with Rage and the feat, and power 19, 14 under the feat. So if we take a look at that, we have 2 power 19 shots with a spray. We have 1 power 18 shot because we're +4 with Rage and feat. And the inbuilt gun is power 14. So if we put Rage on the Abyssal King and we feat, we have 2 power 18 shots and 2 power 19 shots. Not bad chances of just shooting a heavy off the table, which I've done recently and surprised people. It's been pretty nasty. So that's the reason I like one of each gun. When you're broadside, it gives you that duality of what one you're going to fire. So that's really good. And also the thing I like about the Abyssal King is it gives you a solid melee threat in the list. If you apply Rage to the Abyssal King, you have 1 power 21 and 1 power 24. And if you buy 5 attacks with a power 24 attack, plus all your initial range shots, which you have Black Penny on, so they're not going to get the immediate death bonus. You've got 2 crit knockdowns. You might sort of boost one and fetch a crit knockdown on your first shot. You can fire all 4 guns, do your initial melee attacks, and then have your 4 more melee attacks with Rage at power 24. Very, very solid melee threat as well. So I think Abyssal King really, really shines with Firequill, and you're going to really enjoy firing 2 power 19 and 2 power 18 shots, which can have flare or incendiary under the feat turn. You are really going to love that. So that's some key models. I think really Firequill makes shine is his battle group do some really cool things under his feet and broadside in every turn. It feels great. And then obviously the Pig Dirge is just fantastic for the list, because typically you're running a lot of ranged attacks and +2 to hit on demand. It's obviously fantastic. I think last but not least, I'll give a shout out to the Morgaborza. I think sometimes she can feel difficult to slot in a list at 4 points. Brineblood Marauders have a wealth of options for 4-point solos, and the economy of trying to fit her in with maybe Madame Moriarty or Stormjaw or Boomhowler, plus some booty bosses, etc., etc. It can be really hard, but I think she really shines with Firequill for a couple of reasons. First of all, Ancillary attack. When I first read Ancillary attack, I'm always really excited by it, but then I realise, really it's one unboosted additional attack, which can sometimes, if you're mat 6 and you can't boost the attack and you need to hit even if you're trying to hit a defense 12 model, it can be pretty scary. What you had the advantage with Firequill was if you feat with Firequill, say you feated and you've got a Pig Dirge in place, that model is pseudo +4 rat. So that ancillary attack, which might be rat 6, okay, I can't boost it, but I might be effectively firing that at rat 10. And okay, I can't boost the damage, but if I put Rage on something and I've feated and I'm +4 to the roll, even though I can't boost, I'm already good power, I'm already good rat. So ancillary attack with Firequill, I think, and a sort of a dirge, really, really strong. And Enliven is really never bad to help keep sort of your dire trolls or your reef trolls that you want to push up safe. So shout out to Morgan Border. I think she has a place in Firequill's list. With that in mind, I built some Firequill's list. I'm currently playing my variant with an Abyssal King, and I'm really, really enjoying that. So I'm going to kick off with that, and hopefully give you an idea of what a Firequill list might look like that you might come against, or you might want to play yourself. I would recommend trying it. It's a great deal of fun. Spells, these are sort of matchup dependent. Again, I didn't pick these; it's sort of just been picked. I think Tides of War is not ideal here because I've got a Colossal and it can't make the most of it. I think Open Fire with a Colossal is very nice. One Fury for an extra main gun shot under the feet is really sweet. And I'd probably maybe say Fortify is a default spell, but Rack spells really are matchup dependent. So in this list, I've got the Abyssal King. The Abyssal King is the setup we just spoke about. So we've got a Perfora of really decent ranged attacks. All these in the powers can be 4 higher. The rat can be 2 higher, plus a pig dirge. Maybe I can aim pseudo rat 11 with my Colossal. You can get some really great numbers. We've got a Diatrol. He's got the Rage head, so I've got Rage access to my Abyssal King. And we've got the Squid, so I've got the Spray, which could help me maybe clear out Shaft, apply a key flare somewhere. Then we've got 2 Reef Trolls. These have got the Gunners, so they're Rat 6 base, and we've got the Ship's Gun, so we've got potential 15-inch shots with the Snipe Animus, and we've got Snipe for Firequill. Next up, we've got some units. I think it's, even though you want to play a heavy battle group with Firequill in the current scenario pack, a sort of a mixed list is really important. You're going to need some units to play the scenario effectively. So I've got a Booty Boss. I won't go too deep into all these choices because it's mainly about Firequill, but he's there to support the Marauder crew, give them +2 damage if they need it, set defense if they need it, or stealth if there's a forest around. A Fire Guardian's here because I think Firequill is a very good Crix drop. Maybe with more Tenebra and lots of Warjacks, that will change, and we'll see. But typically, I think Firequill has done well for me into Crix. So the on-demand 10-inch magic weapon bubble is good if they've got Night Terrors, really important. Madame Moriarty, I think it's just good in every Brineblood list. You can upkeep a spell for free if you're near your Warlock, and Puppet Master can really help on a key activation. Puppet Master on a Colossal, obviously, is very good. And Puppet Master on Firequill if you're going for that ranged assassination and you don't want to miss that knockdown shot. Re-rolling that's fantastic. A couple of Marauder crew with Quartermasters. Sort of further exemplifying that ranged threat. Though I realised in this list, this isn't the most update list, I've dropped the boarding party, and I've added 2 dirges. So apologies for that. I can just do it. I can just do it live. I have that power. Go to dirges, add 2 dirges, and there's a couple of points left, which what I'd probably do, to be honest, is add a second Fire Guardian and add a Coxswain to my galley crew, so I get some additional Fury management. I didn't plan to do this live. I would say, it's my fault. I would say we're doing it live. We can't complain, but I have control of my own video, so it is my fault. So yes, we've got a couple of Marauder crew, and we've got a couple of Pig Dirges to raise the rat of everything that's going on, and we've also got Pig Galley crew for Fury management. The list could spend 5, 4, 12, 15 Fury in one turn. So being able to manage that Fury is obviously really important. I've really enjoyed playing the Abyssal King. Being able to sort of lift the heavy off with shooting has been fun for me, I suppose. My opponents have been shocked at how much shooting it gets and the strength of it. But between broadside, open fire, the feet, and then his own activation, the Abyssal King really gets going. So that's an example of an Abyssal King list for Firequill. Next up, and I will actually quickly touch on the cards I've taken, which is worth saying. So for the cards for Firequill, I think Blessing of the Gods, I think every list ever has taken a Blessing of the Gods, so I'm not going to dwell on that. Careful Reconnaissance I think is really important. There's really lack of Pathfinder in the faction and on Firequill himself. And you don't want a key assassination sort of to be stopped by a lack of 2 inches threat because you can't move through a certain forest. And even if not that, there's a key charge you need to make with a Marauder crew or your Deepborn. Careful reconnaissance, I think, is something you want to take every time in Brinebloods. Duck and cover. Marauder crew Def 12 typically are victim stats if anyone wants to shoot them. So I really like duck and cover on Marauder crew. Lucky Penny, additional focus for Fury for Firequill is really important. If you'll just put bullet dodger up and I'll keep it for free, you then want to, maybe you've got Fortify as well, as an example. You've only got 5 Fury. That extra Fury I think is really handy the turn you need it. If you're going for an assassination or a key turn with Firequill, really good. And Sapper, because I think defenses are really abundant right now. I don't think defenses work so great with Brinebloods because the lack of Pathfinder can sometimes make them a hindrance for yourself. But I think Sapper's worth it in the current meta because I think there's a lot of defenses around. My brain had a little lag there. Next up, we've got a list without any Abyssal King. I really like this list as well. So I feel like you get so much in this list that it's hard not to love. So we've got Firequill with a Dire Troll. So this is the raised head with a squid. And then I've got a second Dire Troll. He's got the Swift Hunter head. So he's Rat 6 and he's got a squid. This could easily be a crab net if you want to try. If you want to run one of each, it's really up to you, your local meta, what you prefer. And you get 3 Reef Trolls. These have all got the ship's guns, 3 15-inch, 20-inch total threats. And then the utility of the Dire Trolls. You get the Animuses from the Dire Trolls. So we've got Rage, we've got Swift Hunter, and we've got Snipe. And then we've got a Booty Boss. Sort of the unit situation is very similar here. The only difference here is we can fit Morga Borza in. It's fantastic. We can enliven a Deepborn Dire Troll to keep it safer. Or we can ancillary attack one of our reef trolls. So say we go with Firequill, we shoot and we do a broadside. We're going to shoot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of our warbeasts for free, and then we can ancillary attack 1 for another free shot. That's all out of activation shooting. Before these guys then shoot actually on their turn, you'd have 5 more beasts going and using their ranged attack, which are all going to be buffed by Firequill's feet, potentially by dirges. Yes, I'm sure you can tell I love playing Firequill. So Marauder crew, score units, score objectives, quartermasters, synergize well with the dirges. So when you mini feat and you have a dirge next to it, you're +4 rat. Just fantastic. Card wide, quite similar. Instead of duck and cover, I've put Old Faithful here because I've got a lot of battle group models in this list. So Old Faithful's never a bad shout when you've got a big cohort. I would probably consider Tides of War in this list. 5 Warbeasts with Repo 3. It sounds pretty sweet. Last but not least is a list I saw, which I've not tried this, but I think it looks quite a lot of fun. It's Abyssal King list. So the Abyssal King with a bunch of Reef Trolls, maximising your battle group for broadside and your feet, but also includes Big Pig. So you've got sort of a really, really elite list where you've got 4 cohort models and Big Pig, and you've got some dirges and boarding party to try and play the scenario game. It looks like a lot of fun. I've not tried this before, but I've seen people sort of say that they've enjoyed it. Ranged output is obviously very strong. And also you have the Big Pig who's completely self-sufficient and you don't have to manage his Fury. So Fury management is a bit easier in this list. I'm sure you can tell, but I absolutely love playing Firequill. I haven't really got enough good things to say about him. I've had a blast sort of playing around with him and locally sort of trying to push him to how much you can get out of him. I hope if you've got this far in the video, you give him a go or you've enjoyed learning about what he can do. I really appreciate you staying this long. And until the next one, guys, I'll see you then.